people who don't know how bad these courts are probably think, well, if you're in the courts, you probably deserve it. There's probably something wrong. The courts would never get it wrong. You know, there's something wrong with you. Have you heard anything? Have you ever felt that way, that people think that way about you or about the whole thing?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel like, you know, there's a reason we're there and there's a reason this is happening.
Yeah.
But there is not a reason. It's almost like we have to be there.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, then he loses his kids.
Yeah. And that is an important point to make, that you have to respond or you lose your kids. And I think that there is something absolutely wrong with the state of Texas when, on the one hand, the Attorney General issued an opinion in February of this year, KP-0241, and he talks about parental rights and how the state must make a compelling argument to do anything to terminate those rights or along those lines. You have a very good father for all intents and purposes because of the manipulation of his ex-wife, using the courts, using therapists, using attorneys like those that come from the firm of Coons Fuller. And again, my opinion of them is very, very low. But it just seems that there's something so wrong that we would allow this to take place for all intents and purposes, even though we talk about parental rights, we talk about the importance of the parent-child relationship, children having both parents in their home, and yet our court system, and especially with what I saw today, when that judge granted that continuance and said, we're going to keep the temporary restraining order on for 6 more weeks, I thought that was criminal.
It's totally. After everything she knows what's happened to Robert and what Robert's been through and all the accusations he's had to fight unfairly. And to just do this to him is just completely wrong.
To me, I look at the business of divorce, the business of child custody. I call it the family destruction industry. And I say that the attorneys are involved. Many of the attorneys, not all, because there are some good ones. The judges are involved. Many of the judges, not all.
It's become a business.
It has become a business. So my thought is this: we regulate big tobacco. Because big tobacco, if we did not regulate big tobacco, they would have ads on televisions proclaiming the health benefits of cigarettes. You know, we regulate big pharmacy, we regulate big alcohol. Why don't we regulate big courts? Why don't we regulate big divorce firms? Why don't we regulate the entire family law so that we have, maybe we would have a code of ethics. And that if these people violate the code of ethics, they would either be sanctioned, have their license taken away, maybe they would have to make financial recompense to some of the people. There'd be some type of punishment involved. What are your thoughts about that?
I think you're absolutely right. I think that something needs to be done. I think this is getting out of hand. It's not only my husband, there's thousands of cases going, this way. And not only men and women too.
Right.
It's the other way around.
Right.
So something needs to be done, and, we need some justice for the laws. Why did God create laws? For a reason. So if we don't have these laws, what is it going to be of us?
Right.
And if we can't count our legal system, then what are we going to count on?
And that is a very important point, because there's many people that think, well, we should be able to trust our legal system. And I've said, I don't trust it at all.
No.
At one point in time, I had a lot of faith in it. And then I went through part of it and I lost a lot of faith in it. And then I went through a second time and I said, there is nothing you can trust about it.
No.
And that is a shame, because the legal system should be the last non-violent means of resort that we have to get justice.
Exactly.
And if that system that should be set up to protect the innocent is used to oppress the innocent, to victimize the innocent, to plunder the innocent, to exploit the innocent, to destroy our children and our grandchildren, what does that leave us with?
Nothing. There's
it leaves
nothing.
us with nothing
This
whatsoever.
is why people are taking how do you say it? They're taking the things in their own manner.
Right.
And that's why people are killing each other.
Right.
You hear of husbands killing wives.
Right.
Children killing. I mean, this is why people are taking things in their own manner, because
Right.
they see no justice.
Right.
So
right.
if that's where the root is starting.
Right. And something else that has been taking place, and I was reading about this much more because of the veteran issue. The commonly cited figure is 22 veterans kill themselves each day.
Wow.
And secondclasscitizen.org, they've talked about this, and about 60% or so, I believe, maybe it's a little bit more than that, actually when they take their lives, it has something to do related to family court, to divorce, to something along those lines. But they also talked about another group of victims that people never talk about. The children of these fights committing suicide. The children of these fights dropping out of school. Children of these fights getting pregnant, going on drugs, getting into criminal activity. And we never talk about that a lot. So these attorneys that think that, we're fighting for you, they're destroying an entire generation of people coming up.
I've seen it too. I'm part of a lot of different groups, like a stepmomming group and grown parents group. And suicide is one thing that is killing our youth and our children.
Yeah.
And this kind of cases and this kind of stuff puts so much pressure on these kids that are already dealing with society, with hormones, with growing, with other people accepting, with bullying, with so many other things. And then the two people that are supposed to be guarding, supporting, and loving them are tearing each other down in front of their eyes.
Right. There was one of the attorneys talked to me today afterwards. I don't know if you were there or not, but he was talking about a judge that was in front, that the mother and the father were in front of, and they were arguing about something, and somebody came and whispered something to the judge's ear, and the judge had to say, I'm sorry to inform you of this, but your son just killed himself. They're fighting in court, and he has to convey to them, your son just committed suicide.
Wow.
And it's just a shame what's taking place.
Yeah, this has been one of the things that I always feel here, because I've seen these girls cry and suffer so much over this fight that I just hope and pray that God just has them in his hands and that they're okay.
Yeah.